Hi friends, so it's finally the day. I'm going to show you guys how to make the Christmas bow sweatshirt. So if you're seeing this, then the design is obviously up on the website and I will link it in the description of this video. I'm going to link a few other things like the materials I used. I did use a design outside of hours for the tag, so I will link those as well. But I hope you enjoy and let's get into it. So when you buy this file, you're actually going to be buying 3 separate files. The first one is going to be your tag. That is going to slide onto the ribbon that will create the tag visual of the design. The second one is going to be your first hooping, and the third one is going to be your second hooping, and that is with the actual bow itself. I am going to walk you through all this, so don't panic. I know it sounds like a lot, I promise. These are actually quite simple once your materials are prepared, and they do go fast on the machine. So they're not super time consuming as long as you prepare ahead of time, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Don't panic. So for simplicity's sake, I am just going to be doing one tag at a time, just because I have some that are already prepped. I don't need to make a ton at the moment, but if I were you, I would 1000% do as many as I could in a hoop. So I normally do an 8x8 hoop, and I will pack as many tags as I can within the hoop, just so that way you have some prepared and you're not having to make a tag every time you are gonna make a shirt, because that to me is just not a good way to spend your time. So, but right now I'm just doing one at a time. All I have in this is a simple tearaway. This is not adhesive, this is just a tearaway stabilizer, and I have it hooped all by itself. Link, like I said, everything that I use in the description. So I am going to make one Christmas tree tag. Okay, so your first step, your first stitch is going to just be a tack down outline of your tag itself. I'm using a red gingham, and this does have heat and bond on the back. I prefer to put heat and bond on these. It just makes the cuts cleaner. You don't have to. We're going to take a lighter to it at the end anyway to get any residue off, but I just prefer to have heat and bond on pretty much all of my fabrics. There are some exceptions, but this is not one. So I'm just doing a tack down stitch real quick. Doesn't matter what color thread I use for this because it's going to get covered up anyway. Okay, I'm going to take this off just to show you guys what we're looking at. So I don't know if you can see it very well, but it's literally just the tack down of the outline of the tag, and that's perfect. So this is where you're going to insert your icon design. So I'm going to do the Christmas tree. It's going to come right, it's going to sandwich between this and the very last stitch. So whatever icon you decide, when you put your tag and your design together, just put it after this stitch and make sure that the very last stitch is like sandwiching your icon design. So I'm going to let it run the Christmas tree. I'm not going to cut anything yet, and I will show you when it is done with the Christmas tree. Okay, so our tree is officially done, and right now all we have is a tack down and the tree and nothing on the back. So we obviously need to seal, is what I call the back of it, so that we don't see this design and it's as clean as possible. So I take another piece of the same fabric that I used on the front, and I'm going to slide it with the wrong side facing up, and I'm going to slide it underneath so that it covers the whole design. I'm going to go back to the very first stitch, which is going to be this tack down. I'm going to run it one more time and make sure it stops so that we don't run the Christmas tree again. And then we're going to cut away both the front and the back. This is what she's looking like. Now, I was doing too much at one time. I'm trying to film this, and I'm also trying to film for like Instagram and stuff. So I did not put a stop, and we've got some stitches on the back. That's okay. I'm still going to show you guys like how to finish it from here, but you can also just like copy and paste this tack down stitch to be after this. I may actually go in and change that before I list it. So I think I'm going to do that so that this doesn't happen to you guys. Anyway, this is what it's gonna look like, and it's not gonna have the stitches like that on the back, I promise. So we're gonna cut out the front and the back of this, and I am like kind of straddling this camera, so I'm gonna do my best. Now, I do not touch this hole right here. I actually use, and again, I'm gonna link everything. I use like this hole punch, and it's for like grommets and stuff, eyelets and whatnot. And I just use the largest hole on it, and I'm gonna show you how I use it. And it will literally just punch out this hole for me so it's nice and clean. I have tried to cut this out, and it's possible. It just does not look as clean. I really suggest using one of these or something similar to actually punch that hole out. It makes it a lot better. So we're gonna put this back on the machine, and it's gonna do a satin stitch around the outside and also the hole, and we're literally gonna be able to pop this out. It's going to pretty much cut away at the stabilizer, and we're gonna be able to pop it right out. Okay, so like I said, once it's done, you will be able to just kind of like, it literally will just pop out of the stabilizer because it's pretty much cut away that stabilizer for us. And then I am just gonna take a lighter, and I'm going to just get all those little fuzzies off that are left over from the stabilizer. And this will also help seal our thread so she doesn't go anywhere. And then I'm going to just take my hole punch and center it in the hole and just punch that hole out. It will leave like a little bit of a tag. So I just go in and clip it, and we have our gift tag. I personally would go in and make 8 to 10 of these if you're planning to make a bunch of these. If you're planning to just make 1 or 2, then, you know, obviously you would just do a couple at a time. These you definitely want to go ahead and have prepared if you're planning to make a bunch of these, because this is the most time consuming part of the entire process. I promise that this is the longest part. The rest of it is pretty quick and easy. So let's get on to the shirt itself. I'm so excited to show you guys. Like I said in the very first part of the video, this is broken up into 2 sections. So the first section is going to be your long piece down, and your second section is going to be the long piece across with the actual bow, and that's where you'll add your tag as well. So first we're just going to do our long piece that goes down the center, and we are going to hoop it vertical. So most of the time when you're going in and you're hooping a shirt, you're doing it horizontal, but we're actually going to go in and hoop it vertically. So it's the exact same as you would do any other design. When you're hooping, you're just doing it vertically. So just like that, and make sure it's tight. And your ribbon pieces, which I will go grab. So your ribbon pieces are going to be pretty much the full length of your hoop. So you can do it however you want. You can actually go out and measure it, or you can just kind of eyeball it, which is what I do with pretty much everything at this point. You will need both the 1.5 inch, and then I believe this is a 1/4 inch width ribbon. Both of these are velvet, and I will link, again, I'm going to link everything in the description, but I really like the look of this velvet. It's so pretty. So I'm gonna go put this on the machine, and I'll meet you over there. I'm just flipping the sleeve of this over so that I can kind of finagle this onto the machine, and you want to make sure that it's not folded underneath and that it's not going to get sewn on to the actual other side of the shirt. Once this is on, you're going to load the first part of the design, and you'll notice the first part is the most simple. It's a rectangle with a line through it. So this is literally going to take, I think it's like a 3-minute stitch out, something like that, something super quick. And I like to put a stop in between each of these just so that I don't forget and it starts moving on to the next. Now, a disclaimer for these is to watch your fingers, because it is a lot of like holding ribbon down, and it's a lot of keeping your hands on the shirt itself. Please, please, please turn turn your stitches per minute down if you have to, all the way down. I don't care. Just do not get your fingers caught in this. It is terrible. So be very careful. We're gonna treat it kind of like a sewing machine. That's really not what it's made for. So we're not able to like stop it like we are a sewing machine. So please, again, just be careful. Our first stitch out is gonna be the tack down for this. And so we're gonna place it. I like to center it with my little knobs right here on my hoop. Try to get it as centered as possible. And you're just gonna start. So it's going to make the rectangle to stitch this down. And I'm gonna move my fingers with it. So the next is going to be placing your thinner ribbon down. So this is where you gotta watch your finger. Just be careful, be mindful. And guys, that is literally it for the first design. That's gonna be the first design that comes in the design that you buy. So that's done. So then back to the table, I'm just going to cut off the excess right here. And I don't get like super close. I leave a good bit on. I just think it's nice and dry. So then we're going to measure for where I want the top of my bow to be. So I don't want the top to be centered because of course then the rest of it's gonna be down here. So I move the top maybe, let's see, I would put it like right here, which is about 2 inches down from the top, something like that. It doesn't have to be exact, but I'm just gonna leave that there. So I'm gonna unhoop this. We're gonna turn our hoop horizontal. I just leave it inside the shirt, it just makes it easier. And then you're just gonna hoop like normal. And this next design doesn't take up like the whole hoop width, so I give myself a little bit of room at the top here. You're gonna need the 1.5 inch ribbon for the length of it. You're gonna need some ribbon to make the actual bow, and then your thinner ribbon is also going to need to be the length of your hoop. I make this kind of a point because this is what we're going to put through our tag. So you want it to have kind of a point, especially if it is a little bit wider like this. This feeds through the hole a lot easier than a blunt edge like this. Making your bow. I like to have, normally I would have all of this prepped and ready to go before I even put the shirt on, but I am like unprepared right now. So I leave, and I eyeball everything, so it's hard to say. I would leave, yeah, maybe like 5-6 inches of a tail right here. And I tie it just like a normal bow. Like I don't really do anything crazy with this. You do want to have a little bit of a tail because you will have to tack that down. But you obviously don't want to use like a ton of material. So you want to try to keep everything, you know, not excessive. And with this, you're going to want to be able to turn these like so, because that's how it's going to tack it down. So you just want to make sure that you have enough bow to tack down, but you not too much to where you're wasting material. So that looks good. And I'm sorry I'm not like exact with everything. I'm a big like eyeballer. You know what I mean. So we're gonna take all of this and our tag to the machine. Okay, so we're on to our second and final hooping. You're at the end, we're almost done. I swear it's really not as much as it seems right now. So I'm gonna put a stop between every single stitch for this. There's only 3 steps to it. The first one, again, is the same as this. We're just gonna tack down our green, or whatever color you choose for your 1.5 inch ribbon. So now's the time to add our tag. So what I'm gonna do is thread your skinniest ribbon through the hole of your tag, and you wanna leave, I'm only gonna thread it through like that much. So what we're gonna do is do a short tack down by about this much. It's going to pause. We're gonna pause our machine and we're gonna slide the tag down into that space. It's gonna jump. You will see, this sounds like so much more complicated than it is. It's gonna jump and then tack down the rest. So we'll do the first part. Okay, it's stopping. So I'm gonna stop the machine. We're going to literally just slide this down into that gap, and I pull it like all the way so that it doesn't get caught under the needle, and it's going to tack down the rest. Okay, so the next thing it's gonna do is going to show all the tack down stitches for the bow. I'm gonna let those run completely, and then I'm gonna use those as like a guide for when I put the actual bow down. While that's stitching out, you are free to kind of like tape this to the side. Sometimes I'll like tape it to the actual hoop itself, like just run a piece of tape just to keep it out of the way of the tack down stitches. But if you move it to the side like this, you should be good. As long as it's this is nice and tight, it keeps it in place pretty well. Okay, so we have our guide stitches down, and it's gonna stitch down the top of our loop, the bottom of our loop, top of our loop, bottom, and then our two tails. So I was saying whenever we were tying our bow, we need enough of a loop to turn them like this. So that's how it's gonna stitch it down. It's gonna be top, top, bottom, bottom. And you're just going to line your loop up with those guide stitches. And I try to make sure that the knot of the bow, the center of it is center with the other ribbon. Otherwise it'll pull one way or pull the other. So we're gonna start that. Pause it. I'm gonna hit my stop button. I'm gonna do the exact same thing. I'm going to turn my loop. I'm trying to show you guys the best way I can. I'm gonna turn my loop the same way. I'm gonna line the top of my loop with the top stitches and the bottom with these bottom ones. I just kind of hold the knot in the center. That tends to do the trick. The next section, and I'm gonna make sure that these are turned out the right way. You may have to kind of twist them a little bit, but they should be good. If you've made it this far, then you finished it, and I'm so proud of you. So the last thing I'm gonna do is trim off my excess right here. And I take these little tails and I give them an evening amount. And to seal those from the shirt, so we're not burning the shirt, we're just gonna seal those ends so they don't fray. And you'll feel them, they'll almost melt down to like a hard kind of piece, and they will be completely sealed. So that is exactly how to make our Christmas bow sweatshirt design. I hope you guys love it. Please tag me if you guys decide to make them. I'm really curious to see if you guys like the design. Let me know if there's anything that I should fix, I should add. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'm so excited to start showing you guys some more how-tos, behind the scenes, maybe like vlog type stuff. But until next time, thank you guys for watching. I love you so much.